The pressure was intense for Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison in the trial of Derek Chauvin. We'll talk with a Detroit native about the verdict and the road ahead. President Biden lays out a massive plan for American infrastructure, and Congresswoman Debbie Dingell will ride shotgun on selling it in Congress. We'll talk to her. And a look at the massive semiconductor mess in the auto industry. Today is Sunday, May 2nd, 2021, and this is Flashpoint. Hi, welcome to Flashpoint. Good to have you with us as we make our way into the month of May, a month that will tell us a lot about our ability to get past the pandemic. This week, Governor Whitmer basically put matters in your hands. Workplaces, restaurants, entertainment venues, they will now open according to our vaccination rates. Will that accelerate the vaccine rates? We will be watching intently. Week before last, we were watching intently as a Minneapolis jury convicted Derek Chauvin in the murder of George Floyd. At the helm for the prosecution was the Minnesota Attorney General and Detroit native Keith Ellison. His team landed a conviction that is very rare in these cases. He'll be here this morning to talk about what's next. That's also the question we're going to ask of Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. In President Biden's address to Congress Wednesday night, he made his pitch for a set of plans as breathtaking for their price tag as for their scope and scale. Congresswoman Dingell will be here to talk about it. And AutoLine's John McElroy will be here to give us a semiconductor primer. Why this shortage is such a roadblock for the entire auto industry. All today on Flashpoint. Well, just after the charges were filed against Derek Chauvin, Minnesota's Attorney General Keith Ellison joined us on this program and cautioned everyone against assuming that the video was enough or that there's anything close to a slam dunk in an assault or murder case against a police officer. Well, the jury didn't actually need that much time to deliver that rare conviction, and Attorney General Ellison is back on his hometown airwaves to talk with us about it today. Attorney General Ellison, it's great to have you back on the program. I want to start, though, with the fact that, and you've made this point in a number of remarks since the verdict was read, you're not really sure about the word justice. Talk about why you don't think really justice wasn't quite possible here, was it?
Well, justice implies restoration, and it implies that we're going to restore and repair harm done. But George Floyd's never coming back to his family. What we can do is hold people accountable who've inflicted tremendous damage on George Floyd's family, and the community at large. And I'm very pleased that we did that. 3 convictions, guilty on all counts. And yet we have much more work to do, even on this case.
In fact, you've still got 3 more officers. I think that's lost perhaps on some people. You've still got cases pending against 3 more officers.
That's right. They are presumed innocent, and I'm not at liberty to talk much about those cases, but they are still there. Our trial date is August 23rd.
I think your grasp of the fact that this was much bigger than a local case has been obvious from the drop of all this. We talked about it when you were on the program months ago. But I think one of the really extraordinary things that you did in your preparations for this case with your prosecutors, you brought in the mother of Eric Garner, the man who was killed in an altercation with police because he was selling loose cigarettes on the streets of New York. Tell me a little bit about where that idea came from and what Eric Garner's mother ended up meaning to the prosecuting team as you were preparing the case.
Well, it's important to keep a strong sense of morale, a strong sense of focus and purpose whenever you're whenever you're engaged in trying a case like this one. So I would look for people who I thought could help our team, prosecutors, paralegals, investigators, understand just the great importance of this matter. And, Eric Garner's mother was gracious enough to spend a few moments talking about her son, talking about the beauty of the man that he was, talking about his tragic end and her struggle to make sure that this does not happen to other families. We also had other folks, talk to our meetings, but she was very special because George Floyd was literally calling for his mother.
Yeah.
And for a mother of a victim like him to come on, both Eric Garner and George Floyd were saying they couldn't breathe. And so her presence just meant so much. And I can tell you that we had a few misty eyes on the team when she delivered her thoughts and her good wishes for our team and her hope that we would be successful in a way that sadly justice never came, accountability never came for her son.
It was, I thought, an extraordinary gesture. When I had you on the program months ago, you were really trying to caution everyone against thinking that there was anything easy about a case like this. And then the jury came back very, very quickly. So are you just really good at expectation management, or did the case go differently, perhaps, than you thought it might? Was it an easier case to make than you thought it would be?
No, it was not an easier case to make. I just think we had some extraordinary professionals who stepped up and did a great job, starting with jury selection, but even before that. I think, things look easy when you really, really, really work hard, but they really aren't. There was a tremendous amount of effort that went into every aspect of the case, and we expect the same in the next 3 cases as well. So we're already in our preparation stage, and we're going to work hard because we know that, look, we are all raised, me included, to believe that a police officer is not going to do a bad thing. We all grew up watching Law and Order, CSI. When I was a kid, we watched reruns of Dragnet. And we know that most officers do a great job every day. We also know that any person, including a police officer, can do the wrong thing. And so, but for so much of the community, it's a bigger leap when a police officer is accused. People just don't want to believe it, even if the facts are there. And so we had to overcome that, which, is something that is probably good that we have to overcome that burden. We want everyone presumed innocent, including police officer defendants. But at the same time, we were able to get the jury to see the facts, to believe their eyes. And we're grateful for the outcome.
You have said that we need from here a social transformation, something much bigger than just a few tweaks. And yet I'm really curious about what your thoughts are on some of the reaction that we've heard bubble out, because we had contemporaneous events involving police while this was going on. And we had comments like from Detroit area Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who said it's time to get rid of policing and get rid of incarceration. I'm really curious as to how you felt about the reaction and the response that in some cases was too extreme for some.
Well, first thing first, I do support the passage of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Yeah. I think this is an important piece of legislation. It will establish a national registry so that we can track and monitor excessive use of force by officers. It will change the burdens on qualified immunity. It will ban the practice of racial profiling. And there are other important pieces of that bill that I would support and urge all Detroiters to support as well. Look, at the end of the day, police officers, most of them join the force so they can help people. That's why they're there. They want to help people. And yet we do know that there are times, just like in every other profession, people go astray. We're going to need to hold folks accountable. And we also have to recognize the systemic nature of this problem. I mean, look, whether it is the Kerner Commission that identified bad policing as a spark for urban unrest, including in Detroit, or whether it's, the more recent reports like the 21st Century Policing Task Force, which came out after the Ferguson troubles. Mm-hmm. The bottom line is this is a systemic and widespread problem, and it requires a systemic, widespread solution. I think the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act is step number one.
Well, lastly, are you optimistic that that moment can happen now, or did you watch the cases happen, as I was just mentioning, the others that happened the very week that this jury's deliberating, and did you think, man, we're not getting anywhere?
Well, I'm an eternal optimist. My mom, who was born in Louisiana but lived her whole adult life in Detroit, Michigan, taught us to, always look for the light. And so I'm just sort of wired that way. I believe we can get there, but it's going to take a lot of work. And quite honestly, there's no city that is immune from this problem. Yeah. Minneapolis, Detroit, but also we see North Carolina, we see Ferguson, all over the country. So let's deal with this problem. And you know who will benefit? One of the groups that will benefit from the reform that I'm talking about is the officers who swear their oath and put on their badge and try to do the right thing every day. They're not well served by officers like Derek Chauvin. They're poorly served by officers like Derek Chauvin.
Yeah.
We want to be able to create an environment where a good cop can stand proud and feel the respect that people really have, and not be confused with somebody like Derek Chauvin and sadly some others as well.
Attorney General Keith Ellison, you stay very connected to your hometown. You've been very generous with your time with us. It's really great to talk to you again, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon down the line.
Anytime.
You bet. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. We come back. President Biden's plans for the U.S. What we need, or is it too much and too expensive? This is Flashpoint on Local 4.